You know, I really want kids, huh? You can't get pregnant, right? If that's the case, I'll just remarry a younger woman and have kids with her. I was stunned by these sudden words from my husband. Remarry a younger woman. What does that even mean? After all the effort I've put into treatment, was it all for nothing? I'm still in my early 30s, yet I have premature menopause. Sure, the chances of me getting pregnant are low. But I too have wanted children and have been seeing a doctor for various treatments, so his dismissive words hurt a lot. Even today, I came to the doctor with my husband, so he should know this.
Wait. Why are you saying this all of a sudden?
Sudden? It's not getting any better, is it? How long do I have to wait? Huh? I'm completely the villain in his eyes. I had told him about my premature menopause before we got married, and he married me knowing that. He doesn't need me anymore, does he? I couldn't say anything more to my husband. I felt our hearts had drifted apart and that anything I said would be in vain. I don't care about the treatment anymore. Let's go home. That's what I thought as I got up to leave. At that moment, my husband and I were called by the doctor. What's the matter? You can end my treatment after today. It's pointless to continue. What? You don't even need to look at the test results, do you? You know it's not my fault, right? I want to leave soon, it's a waste of time. Where should we go on a date today? I'm so relieved since the divorce. No need to sneak around for dates anymore, huh? It's hard to say this, but... The doctor began to speak slowly, looking not at me, but at my husband. My husband, his face pale and trembling, listened to the doctor's words. Seeing his reaction, I couldn't help but feel a sense of justice. My name is Nova. I'm turning 35 this year. 3 years ago, I married Theo, who was introduced to me by a mutual acquaintance. We were the same age and hit it off quickly because we shared the same hobbies. After meeting a few times, we were drawn to each other and started dating.
Sorry. I feel a bit sick.
Hey, are you okay? Don't push yourself and take a rest, all right? About a year into our relationship, I began to suffer from unexplained poor health. No matter how much I rested or watched my diet, I didn't get better. Working as a preschool teacher with frequent weekend shifts, I thought maybe I was just tired. I didn't take it very seriously. You should probably get that checked out by a doctor.
That's an exaggeration.
No, really, you get sick almost every month. It'd be great if it's nothing, but I'm worried. Please see a doctor. Well, if you insist. Hearing my husband's words, I felt a little anxious and decided to see a doctor. I was sure the doctor would just say, it's due to exhaustion. But the diagnosis was beyond my wildest expectations. You see, you have premature menopause.
Premature menopause?
It was a condition I wasn't familiar with, so I asked the doctor to explain. Do you know what menopause is? It typically occurs in older women, but in rare cases, young women like you can experience it too. I understood menopause. But what did menopause mean exactly? Does it mean I can't have children? I hesitantly asked the doctor.
I know about menopause, but, doctor, you mentioned something about menopause earlier. Does that mean I can't have children?
Well, yes, sort of. The doctor nodded to my question, looking somewhat uneasy. What a thing to hear. I had wanted to have children with him. I was overwhelmed with despair. There's still a possibility. If you continue with the treatment, the chances are low, but you might still be able to get pregnant, so let's not give up and continue the treatment.
Okay. I understand.
I left the hospital and headed home to Theo, who was waiting for me. What should I say to him? A woman like me, I wouldn't be surprised if he left me. I'm home. Welcome back. How did it go? Yeah.
Yeah? What do you mean, yeah? Was it that bad?
I guess I had no choice but to tell him the truth. I braced myself and decided to tell Theo everything. It's premature menopause.
Premature? What's that?
You know, like menopause. It can happen at my age. If I continue treatment, there's a chance, but it's hard to get pregnant right now.
What?
Theo fell silent after hearing my story. We had discussed our future, and now he knew I might not be able to have children. It's understandable he would react this way. You probably hate having a partner who can't have children. It's okay. I understand if you want to break up. As I told Theo my feelings with tears, he hugged me and said, "Are you kidding? Break up over this? If we continue treatment, there might be a chance, right? I don't care if we can't have children. Let's get married." I never imagined he would propose at a time like this. He didn't abandon me.
Yes. I'd be honored.
At that moment, I must not have been a sight for the eyes. Touched by his kindness, my makeup must have been ruined by tears. After accepting his proposal, we met with both our families and got married. For my husband's sake, I was determined to continue treatment and try to have children. But the results were hard to come by. Don't worry about it. Let's just keep up with the treatment, step by step. Every time I returned from treatment, Theo always had kind words for me. I'm truly blessed to have such a good person in my life. Our married life, apart from my health issues, was going smoothly. Adding a child to our family would make us even happier, I thought. But life isn't always that sweet. And now, 3 years have passed since we got married. We still haven't been able to have a child. Maybe because of that, the once close relationship between my husband and me started feeling awkward. I'm going to the doctor today. Okay. Our conversations had become this brief. I wondered if my husband had lost interest in me. Maybe it wouldn't be surprising if he left me. Such thoughts had started to creep into my mind. One day, I decided to ask him directly what he thought about me. Hey. I still can't have children, right? What do you think? I broached the subject while we were having dinner, after Theo returned from work. My sudden question seemed to catch him off guard. He choked a bit, hastily swallowed his food with some tea, and then started speaking.
Why all of a sudden? You caught me off guard. So, what's up?
I mean, it's been 3 years since we got married, right? You wanted kids, didn't you? And yet, we still haven't had any. I was just wondering what you think about that. I told you before we got married, didn't I? I'm not in a rush. It's fine even if we can't have kids. It seems my feeling that he had become indifferent lately was just my misunderstanding. Theo reassured me with the same sentiment he had expressed before our marriage.
Oh, really? That's good to hear. Good to hear? What do you mean?
Well, I was starting to think maybe you'd leave me soon.
Don't think such silly things. Seriously, haha. Well, my mom has been nagging me about wanting to see grandchildren, so it would be great if we could have kids soon.
In the end, Theo joked and laughed. Thanks to him, my gloomy mood lifted. I was reminded once again how lucky I was to have married him. A week later. Like usual, I went to the doctor for my treatment. When will the treatment be over, and I'll be able to get pregnant? I couldn't help but ask my doctor directly. No matter how much Theo said not to rush, I was feeling anxious. Right now, he's waiting, hoping the treatment will allow me to get pregnant. And the treatment costs aren't small. With my health condition, I can't work full-time, and Theo, working as a factory worker, has an average income. Considering the financial burden on our household, I feel like our time is running out. That's something I can't exactly answer. It's mostly due to hormonal imbalances.
So, what now?
You might want to consider having your husband come in for fertility treatment.
My husband, you say?
Yes. Since there are no menstrual periods, it's necessary to continue your treatment, but it might be a good idea to also check if there's any fertility issue with your husband.
Okay, I'll talk to him about it.
At that time, I couldn't fully grasp what the doctor was saying. I knew the issue was with me, so why did my husband need to get tested? I didn't understand, but on my way home, I messaged Theo on WhatsApp.
The doctor said you should get tested too. Me? Why? I'm not quite sure, but they said it might be a good idea to get tested.
Okay, I'll go sometime. It seemed like Theo was thinking the same thing I was. It's only natural to wonder why you'd need to be suddenly tested. But he agreed to go for the test, so that was the end of our WhatsApp conversation. 3 months passed. Though he said he would go for the test, Theo hadn't made any move to actually do it. He hadn't mentioned going for the test. I didn't want to force him, so I decided to wait until he was ready to go.
I'm gonna head to bed early tonight.
All right. Good night. After dinner, I wasn't feeling great, so I decided to go to bed early. I felt off. As I lay in bed, I felt a dull pain in my lower abdomen. Ouch. It was a pain I hadn't felt in a long time, but it was also familiar.
Could it be?
Hesitantly, I took off my pants and saw red on my underwear. Usually, getting my period would bring me down, but this time was different. Natural menstruation meant that my body was possibly returning to normal. Excited, I forgot all about feeling unwell and rushed down to the living room where Theo was.
What's the rush? I got my period. Huh?
Theo looked confused by my sudden outburst.
It means we might finally be able to have a child.
Oh, really? That's great. His reaction was somewhat lukewarm. After a nonchalant response, he went back to drinking his coffee and messing with his phone. Wait. He always said he wanted children, but that's it?
Well, that's it, but...
Yeah. You said you weren't feeling good, right? You should get some sleep. You don't want to get sick again. I went back to the bedroom, feeling a bit puzzled by his attitude. Was I the only one excited? Surely, it must be just how Theo is. Maybe Theo was just concerned about my health and didn't want to make a big fuss. Looking back, I was probably too optimistic. 3 more months went by. We've been intimate regularly, and my periods have continued without any irregularities since then. Still, I haven't been able to get pregnant. I'm having my periods, so that means I can get pregnant, right? Yes, you can. Recently, we haven't been giving you any hormone treatments, and if it's a natural menstruation, then your body should be returning to normal. But I got the doctor's confirmation that I should be able to conceive. So why can't we have a child? Could it be? At that moment, I thought of Theo. I remembered the doctor suggesting he should get tested. I mentioned earlier that it would be good for your husband to get tested. If you're back to normal and still not getting pregnant, there might be an issue with your husband. If you really want a child, it might be best for him to get tested.
Okay, I understand. I'll talk to him about getting tested right away.
That day, when I got home, I told Theo that I could potentially get pregnant now and that the doctor said there might be an issue with him.
It's hard to say, but the doctor mentioned that you should really get tested. I already told you I'm gonna get tested.
Theo's expression turned visibly upset, perhaps because I brought up the testing again. But I couldn't back down now.
It's been 3 months since you said that. You said you wanted children with me, right? Was that a lie? My body's back to normal, and the doctor clearly said there might be an issue on your side.
Oops. I let my emotions get the better of me and almost blamed Theo.
So you're saying it's my fault? Okay, I got it.
Theo wasn't loud, but he was clearly upset. He left his dinner unfinished and seemed to be heading out.
Wait! That's not what I meant. It's not your fault. Just leave me alone. I've been patient till now, but I've had enough.
With those words, Theo left the living room. Bang! The sound of the front door closing echoed. It seemed like he had gone out. I messed up. After all the trouble I caused him, I got carried away and exploded in emotions, almost blaming him. I decided to apologize when he returned. I waited in the living room for him, but there was no sign of him coming back. It was already past 2 a.m. Maybe he won't return tonight. As I sat there, overcome with sleepiness, I eventually fell asleep on the living room sofa. When I woke up, it was already past 8 a.m. Oh, it's this late already? Rubbing my eyes, I saw a note left on the table. I'll be coming home late from now on. Don't need dinner, and don't wait up for me. We had never had anything like this before. Leaving a note instead of waking me must mean he's really angry. It must be about last night. Reading the note, I deeply regretted my actions. From that day on, our relationship took a turn for the worse. We hardly have any meaningful conversations when we see each other. When I try to talk to Theo, he only responds with yeah or a few words. This went on for half a year, and my body started to react weirdly again. Maybe it's the stress, but my period stopped. Not again. I'm so tired of this. Just when I thought things were getting better, it's like I'm back to square one. I had started to give up on the idea of having children. Then, on a certain day off, while we were both relaxing at home, Theo suddenly spoke to me. Hey.
What?
I was taken aback. When was the last time he initiated a conversation? I was so surprised that I made a weird sound. I'll go for the test.
Really?
I couldn't tell what had changed his mind. But Theo has finally agreed to get tested. I can't miss this opportunity. We arranged a date and went to the hospital together. On the day of the appointment, I went through my usual treatment while Theo got his tests done separately.
Well, I doubt there's anything wrong with me. I hope so.
After the tests and treatment, we sat in the waiting room for Theo's results. He seemed confident, almost as if he was trying to prove he was not at fault. Surely, the reason he agreed to get the test today is to prove that the issue isn't with him. After about 30 minutes, we were called into the doctor's office.
Thank you for waiting. No problem. I know what the results are going to be,
Theo said, unusually cheerful. I wondered what was going on. As I was pondering, Theo said something shocking. You know, I really want kids. You can't get pregnant, right? If that's the case, I'll just remarry a younger woman and have kids with her, huh? I was speechless at his sudden declaration. Sure, the chances of me getting pregnant are low. But there was a time when the doctor said I might be able to conceive. Maybe if we keep up with the treatment, I might get pregnant again.
Wait, why are you saying this all of a sudden?
Sudden? It's not getting any better, is it? I was being blamed for everything. I had told Theo about my premature menopause before we got married, and he married me knowing that. He doesn't need me anymore, does he? I couldn't say anything more to my husband. Seeing me speechless, Theo pulled out a piece of paper from his bag. Sign this. He handed me divorce papers. I was too stunned to comprehend. This was too sudden, and in front of the doctor, no less.
What is this?
I didn't tell you, but since we couldn't have kids for so long and it was getting annoying, I found someone new. I'm going to divorce you and marry her to have kids. That's why I'm telling you to sign this, huh? The other woman is young and doesn't have any health issues like you. Theo said this without a hint of remorse. Feeling that he had completely drifted away from me and that anything I said would be futile, I lost all interest in continuing the treatment. Let's just go home. As I stood up to leave, Theo and I were stopped by the doctor. What's the matter? You can end the treatment today. It's meaningless now. What? You know there's nothing wrong with me, right? I want to leave quickly, it's a waste of time. Where shall we go on a date today? I feel so relieved after the divorce. No need to sneak around for dates anymore, huh? It's hard to say this, but The doctor started talking slowly, looking not at me, but at Theo. Hearing his words, Theo's face turned pale, and he trembled. I felt a sense of justice as I listened.
Actually, according to your husband's test results, it seems the infertility issue lies with him. What? Look at these numbers. They show 0, don't they? Yes, what about it? I'll be blunt. Theo, you have azoospermia. What's that?
Let me put it simply. You're infertile. I never thought the problem would actually be with Theo. All this time, I thought I was the one at fault. Theo was shocked by the unexpected diagnosis. Seeing Theo holding the diagnosis given by the doctor and trembling, it was clear that he was in considerable shock.
You said Nova was the cause of the infertility, right? I've treated her many times, so I had a feeling the issue might be with you. Moreover, Nova can get pregnant any time now. Her recent lack of menstruation is just due to stress. I see, so that's why you insisted on getting him tested.
Now I understood why the doctor had been insisting on Theo getting tested.
No way! I'm infertile? That's ridiculous!
It's not a lie. The test results show it. Would you like a retest? I think it will be the same.
No!
Theo mumbled to himself and staggered out of the doctor's office.
Is what you said about Theo's results true? Yes, it's definitely true. I initially thought to discuss it with your husband alone, but when I saw him handing you that divorce paper for such a terrible reason, I couldn't help but tell you in front of him because I got annoyed at him.
The doctor smiled a little as he said this. It must have been his way of showing kindness. I thanked the doctor and followed Theo. After a 30-minute journey home, Theo apologized deeply as soon as we entered the house.
I'm sorry. For what? I didn't think the problem was with me. I'm truly sorry. It doesn't matter anymore. So, about the divorce, can we cancel it?
No matter how much he apologized, I couldn't forgive him for wanting to leave me. And signing the divorce papers, it's too selfish to cancel it now.
What? That's impossible, obviously. I do feel sorry that we couldn't have children because of my health. But you were the one who said it was okay and proposed marriage, right? I made it clear, didn't I? I said it was fine if you wanted to leave me. And yet, you couldn't bear it and went off to have an affair? Don't take me for granted. I'll break it off with her.
The moment after Theo spoke, my right hand had found his cheek. Slap. A dry sound echoed in the room.
Don't mess with me. Enough is enough. What are you doing? I can't do this anymore with you. I don't care if you marry a younger woman and have kids. I'm definitely getting a divorce.
Saying that, I immediately started packing my things. I couldn't stand another second with him. The thought that he had been kind to me only to cover up his affair made me nauseous. Throughout my packing, Theo kept apologizing, but I ignored him. In less than 20 minutes, my packing was done.
That's it, then. Thanks for everything. Wait. Think it over. It's going to be tough without me, right? You don't have an income.
I can manage my own earnings just fine. His concern is the last thing I need. I took off my wedding ring from my left hand and threw it at him.
Oh, worried about me? But I have a childcare license, I won't have trouble finding a job. And I can earn enough for one person. Here's your ring back. Bye, Mr. Infertile.
Just before I left, I saw Theo slumping to the ground, powerless. Serves him right. This is what happens when you selfishly start an affair. Now that he knows he's infertile, I wonder if his mistress will still marry him. Well, it doesn't matter to me. I just hope he suffers. With that thought, I submitted the divorce papers at the town hall and went back to my parents' home. 3 months later, I had rejoined a local nursery as a childcare worker, supporting myself. I never spent lavishly, so earning for one person was easily manageable. Learning from the past, I kept my workload moderate and was living a peaceful life. One day, on my day off, while I was relaxing at home, the doorbell suddenly rang. My parents were out. Who could it be? Did Mom order something? I responded without checking who it was on the monitor, which turned out to be a mistake. Hello? When I opened the door, there stood my father-in-law and ex-husband Theo. I was stunned by their sudden visit. I'm really sorry about what my foolish son has done. After a moment of silence, my father-in-law started talking. It seemed he had heard from Theo that we were divorced.
No. You don't have to apologize for him. Apparently, this guy, he was having an affair, unbelievable. Hey! Apologize to her.
Theo's face was swollen and pained, as if he had already been thoroughly scolded by his father.
Really? I'm sorry.
My father-in-law didn't have to go that far. Besides, if the neighbors see this, it might start some weird rumors. I understood my father-in-law's feelings, so I decided to ask them to leave. Father-in-law, it's okay now, considering the neighbors' eyes. I'm sorry for not being considerate. Here, it's not much, but... My father-in-law handed me an envelope. Inside was $60,000.
What's this?
Just a small apology. Please take it.
No! I can't accept such a large sum.
Please, it's all right. I insist. I won't feel at ease unless you take it. And this money is compensation for what Theo has done. I'll collect it from him. Just think of it as a repayment. If that's the case. I felt hesitant about taking my father-in-law's money, but if it's being collected from Theo, I might as well accept it. Although it wasn't my intention, I thought my father-in-law might stay until I accepted it, so I gratefully received the cash. Well, then, I'll accept it for now. Thank you. Don't mention it. So, we'll be leaving now. Nova, is there anything you'd like to say to Theo before we go? Something to say. Prompted by my father-in-law, I told Theo one last thing.
I never want to see you again. Don't come to this house, okay? If you do, I'll call the police. Be happy with someone new. Okay.
With that, Theo was led away by his father-in-law. I've caused trouble for my father-in-law too. I really hope Theo reflects on his actions. But knowing him, he probably won't. He only thinks about himself. I hope his life never goes well again. He deserves that much punishment. After seeing them off, I went back to relaxing in my living room. Half a year passed, and Theo never came to the house. The warning about calling the police must have worked. When I had almost forgotten about Theo, a WhatsApp message arrived. Oh no. I forgot to block his contact. I didn't plan to reply and thought of deleting it, but curiosity got the better of me, and I checked the message. Nova, I'm really sorry for everything. I regret what I did. When I told the new woman about being infertile, she cut contact, and it fizzled out. I'm disowned by my family, and the relatives all know I can't have descendants. They call me Mr. Infertile behind my back. Even at work, they know about the affair and the divorce. I'm pointed at every day. My life is a mess. Are you doing well? If you ever forgive me, let's have dinner again. I'll be waiting for your contact. I read the message from Theo, then deleted it without replying. Of course, I blocked his contact and set my phone to reject his calls. So, he's disowned by his family too. Considering my father-in-law's anger, it's not surprising. It's satisfying to know he's living in the hell he deserves. It's too late for regrets. There's no way he'll be forgiven. Fool. Muttering to myself, I went back to my interrupted chores. My health has improved significantly. If I ever get married again, I hope to have children this time. That's my wish.